Me being an Egyptologist is not giving me insight on the war that Esau and the nations have waged against us.
Right.
Okay. Knowing what Pharaoh was sitting on the throne, you know, and through any Egyptian dynasty doesn't help me currently in this war.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that I'm the original black man, how does that help me in this war?
Right.
Outside of self-grandizing, we the first black man. Well, guess what? If I was you, I wouldn't be bragging about that with the nations kicking our behinds all over the place.
Mm.
So don't try to brag, I'm the first. Yeah, you the first. But listen, every other nation got their foot in your behind and you can't even recognize the foot. So what good is it being the first? I'm the first. No. Okay, so how did you become the last? And when you ask that question, guess what happens? A question mark appears over their head. I'm the first. Okay, so how did you become the last? Oh. Okay, you can't say that white people came into Africa and enslaved our people that way. That history is a lie. The way America has used that as a narrative. Africa is too vast, and we were too great of a people for it to happen that way. Okay, this was a slow takeover. And I can break it down to you when it happened. For you historians out there, okay? For you historians, this is when the black man fell. The fall of Babylon. That's when it happened. The fall of Babylon, 6th century. That's when we lost the kingship. That's when Jeconiah, our king, a black man in the Bible, lost the throne. That's when we began to fall. 6th century BC. Okay? That's when we began to fall. The original man, we being Hebrews and all that, we were kings until that time. By the time Christ came on the scene, the other tribes were already, matter of fact, even before that, I mean, listen, 721 BC. Okay? About 150 years before we fell, the northern kingdom fell and ran in a different, and escaped into different parts of the Americas, who became the indigenous people of America. They were all black until the white man came and mixed over in America with them. That's when we fell. So don't talk about the original man. We was the original man and don't know how the original man fell. If you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat it. After we fell, I'm talking about the black man in particular, the Israelite, Judah, Benjamin, Levi. After we fell in the 6th century, eventually a greater fall would happen down the line under the Greeks, under some wicked, evil pervert by the name of Antiochus Epiphanes. Do your history. This is Bible history, but this history you can find, folks, you can find this history in secular history, Roman history. Antiochus Epiphanes, he linked in with our priest, that's right, and contracted our priests to have our strongest men, that's right, do sports in their Olympics. That's when they started taking off our clothes, doing the Greeks to see our natural muscles and all that. And Antiochus, being a freak, wanted our young men to join ranks in sports, the decathlon, running, and all that against the other nations. And that's why it says in the Maccabees, under Antiochus, they made us wear a hat. A hat is a symbolic what? Helmet for a team. And with that helmet of the team, the logo was the master who owned you. And instead of us getting our war release against our enemies, they allowed us to get that all out amongst ourselves through sports. When really, that physical prowess was supposed to be used. Before that, it was used in war. So Antiochus say, listen, We have to find a way for them to get all of this out naturally, or they'll use it against us. So we'll just put them on our teams. We'll make teams so that they can fight each other. And they'll be too busy fighting each other to fight us. Okay, are you getting it? And that was around the 2nd century. And then what happens? Then up comes Julius Caesar. Pompey against Julius Caesar. Guess what? Julius Caesar, that's right, linked in with the Jews, the Israelites, our people, to win the war against Pompey. Pompey was celebrated amongst the Edomites as an Israelite killer. But Julius Caesar, he worked with us to take down Pompey. And because Julius Caesar sided with us, they killed him on the Senate floor. They killed him because Pompey was known for destroying us, and Julius Caesar linked with our people to destroy Pompey in a war. That's not the Bible. That's history. You want to know how we fell? 70 AD. Eventually, Christ would come on the scene during the time of the height of the Roman Empire. That's right. To die as a sacrifice according to a Hebrew law that would one day give us the information you are hearing right now tonight. And before he died, he warned all of Jerusalem. He warned the disciples that the Romans were coming to sack Jerusalem. And what did the Romans do? The Romans at the end, after Christ's crucifixion in 70 AD, right before that, Nero did a false flag. He burned what? He burned merchant shops in Rome and blamed it on the black Jews. At that point, they deemed our people terrorists. And that's when, after that, subsequent to that, 4 years later, what happens? You got it. Vespasian and Titus, the Caesars, sack Jerusalem and destroy our homeland. And that's when our people ran into Africa. Esau then began to find us. He found us in Timbuktu. And guess who found us? Arabs found us and warned the Edomites about our golden city we made in Timbuktu. And Esau and Ishmael, the Arabs and the so-called white man, Christians and Muslims, waged war against Timbuktu, the golden city. You want to know about some history? How did the black man fall? I'm telling you right now. When Esau found us, but by the time he found us, we were the great kings, the Hebrew kings, all through South into Western Africa, Ivory Coast. All of the creation that would make America great was amongst our people in Africa. Benjamin Franklin did not discover electricity. He found electricity when we came here. He stole our inventions. So when Esau seen us in Africa, he began to operate politically to do what? To fund one tribe against the other as divide and conquer. He would give one tribe or one area more greater weaponry. And in order for other tribes to survive, stronger tribes that were getting weapons, you know what Esau would do? He says, listen, I negotiate for the blacks you don't want, for your people. I will negotiate for the people you don't want. The thieves, those in prison, those who have killed someone, whatever the case is. We'll even have a place of refuge in America for those who might get killed by your people. We're willing to buy them. Folks, I got history books you wouldn't believe outside of the Bible. We're willing to buy them because they're no good to your system anyway. You might kill them. And that's when slavery began. These were negotiations with our tribal leaders. That's how the black man fell. That's how Judah fell to Esau. That's how. And guess what? Christians, Christ stated this would happen. How can you know Christ and not know the history of slave ships was prophesied by Christ? Elder Lloyd, let's read that before I open up the lines.
All right. This is St. Luke 21, verse 20.
Yes.
And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
When you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, this is Christ talking to those who believe in him. Know that the desolation is nigh. The desolation in the Bible is secular history too. This is not just the Bible talking about us falling in 70 AD. You can find that history amongst the Gentile nations. The Romans have this history. I have the full set of the Roman annals right there in the next room next to me. The whole set of the Roman annals. Everything I'm talking about, how they strategically lied and did false flags against our people. That's right. Nero claimed that our people burned some merchant shops, and it was a pretext for them to wage war in Jerusalem. And they say, listen, we're not going to wage war against you. We just want to make sure we police your areas. We're just going to police your areas to make sure that none of your people come into Rome and burn our shops anymore. And come to find out, they dressed up people like us and claimed that it was our people who did it as a pretext of war against us. The same war that Christ is talking about right here. It was the first time our people wasn't policing ourselves. And it's the same thing going on in our neighborhoods today. Think about it. They say that crime is going up, and then you look at all the police in our neighborhoods and none of them looks like us. None of them from our neighborhoods. That's strategic. It's the same thing that was done in Rome. Finish reading.
Jumping down to verse 24.
Yeah.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations.
Shall be led away captive into all nations. Where you at, Christians? Did you know that Christ talked about the captivity that we are a product of? He was talking to Israelites. Israelites, folks, isn't a religion. It's who we are. And now we expect the enemy to give us the solution for our sicknesses and all that other stuff. We're under the same attack. They're just doing it a little different. It's not a frontal war, but it's war nonetheless. Read on.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations.
Shall be led away captive into all nations. Captivity.
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles.
Now, hold up. If the white man wrote this book, okay, wouldn't he have taken that out? Showing the Romans coming against us, taking us into captivity. Wouldn't he have taken that out if he wrote this? Here's Christ explaining the captivity that no one speaks about in our universities or religious institutions. You know why? You know why we fell as a people? For breaking God's law. But you're simple as the days old. You're in the Christian church teaching our people that they can break the law and it's okay with God. Simple as the days old. Read on.
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
So Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the Gentiles be fulfilled. So that tells us there'll be Gentiles in the Holy Land until Christ returns. So if the Gentiles overtook the land once it became desolate, once they destroyed us, Vespasian and Titus, and we ran into Africa, then that means there's Gentiles in the land till this day, until Christ comes to save this earth, save our people. It's overran. The Holy Land is being overran by Gentiles. Gentiles only mean non-Israelites. That's it. And this is why this world hates Christ. And also, by proxy, this is why the world hates us. They know who we are. See, but we're not of the world, and we're not like the world. Just because they hate us, we don't hate anyone. But we don't have to trust you either. Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir.
You can cut it, snip it, and put it out there, that last piece of history when people talking about, I'm the original black man. Okay? That piece I just did can answer why the original black man fell. It doesn't benefit us at all knowing that we were the original man without the history of how now every other nation has their foot on our necks.